Hello. Today I'm going to give a little more extended talk, and the subject is superdeterminism, which is a concept that is floating around in the quantum mechanics, the scientific area. It has a lot to do with science and philosophy, but it does really have very important implications for the existence of a supernatural world, our religious experiences, and the existence of God. And therefore, I think it's important to include under Jesus' word. If you enjoy this talk and you'd like to hear more like this, please hit that subscribe button and hit the like button. And if you want to get notified when there are future podcasts of this nature, hit the bell. Thank you. The first, it's going to be in three parts. And the first part is to give you a rundown of my own particular philosophy on human nature and the way the universe operates. Well, I take things basically for what they are. And I see there are human beings. There is a universe which is filled with all kinds of variety of things, creatures, some immaterial, like some, non-sentient, non-living, rocks, mountains, trees. The human being appears to have what I would call rational capabilities. It's capable of rational thought and has what I'll define later as a free will. In other words, I see the human being for what it is, and it is exactly that. I'm not being fooled. I have a mind, and that's what it tells me. Now, that being said, I have to tell you that when we talk about free will, a lot of what happens to us in our daily life and a lot of the actions that we take and experiences that we have are pre-programmed by our brain. Everything isn't that way. I'm going to talk about what really is free will in just a moment. But as borne out by scientific experiments, we know that the brain is controlling a lot of what our conscious experiences are. And in our conscious experiences, we have the experience of a self. That's ourselves. Now, is that the real self? No, I don't believe it is. Is that free? No. What it is, it's a portrayal of what's happening in the brain is doing its best to portray to us what's happening in our lives and the existence of various entities that we are coming in contact with. So it produces colors, sounds, feelings, and so forth that tell us what we need to know in order to survive. Now, again, it's a portrayal of the self in our perceptions. It's not the real self. It's not that the brain is trying to fool us. No, the brain is simply producing concepts that we can understand very easily. Even a youngster can understand what is the self without having a scientific treatise on it. So the brain takes in a lot of information, and somehow or other, however this happens, between the brain and the mind, it's condensed and then sent to the conscious part of us to give us experiences that tell us what's going on in the world around us and also within ourselves, because we're part of the perceptions. So it's for our good. It's not a question of deceiving us. And so that's my now over and above our conscious experiences. We now have the ability. We couldn't talk about, by the way, we couldn't talk about our conscious experiences if indeed we weren't able to even rise above them. Now, I don't believe non-rational animals, the animals that appear to be lower than ourselves, I don't believe they have this ability. They may be conscious and they may have conscious experiences similar to ours, but they don't sit down and have a discussion on their conscious experiences. They are not able to step aside from these experiments and have a meaningful discussion about them. The human can do this. And why can it do it? It has the ability. Somehow within our the immaterial components in our being, we are able to take a really reflexive look at what's happening in our conscious mind. And this is how we form concepts. And, it's called basically rationality. Irrationality is the ability of a mind to emerge from our conscious experiences and analyze them. It's simply that. That being the case, then, you see, I've accepted the human being as exactly what it is. The human being has a rational mind, it has a free will, but it also has a lot of things going on in it that are relatively deterministic and not under our control. So that's my philosophy of human nature and the universe, because when it comes to our rational mind, we now have to ask the question, what is above the material world? And the philosophical answer that I consider to be the most cogent is the existence of God and the existence of other material and immaterial entities. Okay, that was part one. Part two, what is this thing called superdeterminism? What are we talking about? Well, first of all, what is determinism? Determinism is the idea that if you knew every aspect of the universe at any one instant, then by the laws of physics and chemistry, you can exactly predict the next instant, and the next, and the next, and the next. Well, what that says is that things are going to move along according to the laws of physics and chemistry, and in a way that is exactly predictable. We know exactly what's going to happen. So if we look backward in time, now we can say, well, with a deterministic universe, we can look back all the way to the Big Bang, and basically everything has been programmed exactly, so that things move along in the universe from the past and then into the present in a very deterministic manner. Now, I don't believe in determinism, but that's basically what it is. But in quantum mechanics, we've had some weird phenomena. For example, the outcome of an experiment that has to do with photons or electrons or particles and waves, the outcome of that experiment seems to depend a lot on the exact nature of the experiment. And this, of course, is chosen by the experimenter, the observer. Well, how could that be? How can we influence what's going to happen in nature, just through our minds? We decide to make a measurement, and that measurement now creates a path, a history for the particles that we're going to be measuring. So it's weird. Now, superdeterminism tries to answer that question by saying, no, everything is determined. There are, hidden variables that determine exactly how everything is going to happen. But in that determinism, I must include the observer themselves, so that it's not that the observer is causing a history for the particle. The observer and the history are both programmed in a superdeterministic manner from other forces, other situations that have occurred prior to them. So they're both being caused by a third thing. And then that explains the correlation. In a superdeterministic world, everything is being programmed to exactly follow the laws of physics and chemistry, including human beings like ourselves. We think we are free, we think we have rational thought, but that's just an illusion. There's a little quagmire there. I don't know how. Basically, even to have an illusion is to step aside from superdeterminism. So that's what superdeterminism is. And the last part of my talk is, what are the problems with superdeterminism? Well, first of all, it indicates a totally programmed universe and history of everything. It says, basically, the past is completed, and the future, in a sense, is completed as well, because we know exactly how it's going to proceed. And this includes not only inanimate objects, but living creatures and even the human being. Everything, including our own, what we think of as free actions, as rational actions, it's all being programmed. And we're under some kind of an illusion that we're free and that we have rational thought. Well, I don't believe that. I believe that when we start questioning or talking about superdeterminism and asking, what does it mean? We are already rising above it. I mean, just the idea that we can talk about it and ask that question basically says it's not a totally closed system. We are able to ask questions about it and rise above it. And superdeterminism cannot be true. It can be in a localized manner. There can be portions of the universe or aspects of our own existence which are determined very accurately to happen, but not everything. So that the universe itself totally cannot be superdeterministic. It would completely eliminate rational thought. And not only that, it's nonsensical because we couldn't even talk about it. I couldn't have the talk that I'm having right now if superdeterminism were true and included everything I'm doing. It would be very, very dysfunctional. Superdeterminism as a grand and as a grand in grand nature, where it encompasses basically everything, it cannot be. It eliminates free thought, it eliminates free will, and it eliminates anything immaterial, anything other than basic matter, particles. It cannot be true because, again, I accept what is there, what my mind tells me is there, and that is that the human is a rational creature, and I know what that means. And being a rational creature is not compatible with superdeterminism. Okay, bye now.